Camille, Fiora, Jace versus him to try and shut him down as their first 3 bans. It was actually insane. He provides so much pressure in the top lane, and he's kind of what the Scouting Grounds, in my opinion, has a lot to do with, where you take somebody who's known to be a one-dimensional player and you go, can they do other things? Can they play X, Y, and Z? And PieCakeLord has been a surprise for me because he has been highly communicative. When I listen to his comms, he's setting goals for his team constantly, saying things like, you know, I'm going to do this, you need to do this. Your goal is to push mid, we're getting vision. He's always setting things up so people can knock him down afterwards and give people things to move towards. So he's actually been a standout for me personally.
Well, moving through these first 6 bans of this match between these two teams, Camille was the first ban, so you called that one. That is going to be banned away from PieCakeLord. Ornn banned out. They don't want that powerhouse in the top lane there either. And then the rest of the bans, Ezreal, Tristana, Caitlyn, Kalista, all targeting AD carries. Granted, Ezreal's more of a jungler these days, but still, AD carry style champion, a marksman, I guess you would say. Yeah. As Team Ocean first picks up Xayah for themselves, the response from Team Infernal is going to be Rakan to deny that synergy in that combo.
Yeah, so what Ocean is going for is they banned PieCakeLord, one of his best champions. They banned a champion from Spica that he was going in, like, affecting lanes level 2, level 3, and getting the game going. And then they banned Noah Most, a champion that he can get away on. Noah Most, I would say, is probably the player on this team that's had the hardest time really getting going during the Scouting Grounds, whereas Prismal and Palafox have actually had some standout performances for Ocean the entire time.
Well, Orianna picked up second for Team Infernal. A lot of times you don't see mid laners picked up that early, not first rotation of the draft, but Infernal decided that they want to have Julian on that Orianna. Ocean, they're going to go ahead and put Jace in the top lane, it seems. Grab the Jarvan there for Blabberfish in the jungle.
Yeah, Kaizen, also known as Max Waldo. This guy is pretty much a fantastic Jace and Jarvan player. Yeah, the Jace and Jarvan player. And he was talking in an interview about how he said Zig is his favorite NALCS pro, and he started playing Jace because of Zig and the fact that he loves the champions that Zig brings out and kind of makes meta because he's always ahead of the curve by a little bit. And this is interesting because I thought the top lane was going to be Bruiser fight. PieCakeLord going to show the Maokai here, even though the Fiora's up, even though these other champions are up, we're going to see him try to make TP flank plays. That's what I'm looking for here because he actually has a really good sense of how to crash as a flanker. See if it translates to the Maokai. Because Maokai, normally you're like, I'm on our front line, but the flanking Maokai can be very powerful, and I'm kind of expecting that stylistically.
And what we saw in the first part of the bans, what you talked about, Zyrene, the ban against PieCakeLord for the Camille. There's also going to be another target ban here in the second phase. Ocean banning the Nidalee away from Spica. He's a guy who's known for this champion, known to carry with it. They don't want to put it in his hands.
Maybe they'll ban the Rek'Sai as well, because these have kind of been his top champions, the Rek'Sai, the Nidalee. I mean, even Mike Young coaching a Nidalee player. This is a double whammy. You want to get rid of him. And I think that Ocean are actually taking this incredibly seriously from the draft phase. That's Zabutin on stage. He is the Optic coach, and this is Optic's first foray into League of Legends, their first public showing as an organization.
Right.
And a lot of people were saying, damn, they won the Drake draft in terms of the players that they got. Palafox was the 20th player picked, dead last, and he's been almost outperforming all the other mids, including Ablaze, Olive, and Julian. He's here because of his performances. That's some high value there because Ocean came into it taking it very seriously because Optic, they want to show that they know how to scout talent.
Well, those two junglers are banned out by Ocean. Infernal deciding to answer with two mid laners, Syndra and Azir, taken off the table as they lock in Sejuani for themselves. And Ocean will now lock in Malzahar, and it looks like they're thinking about Taric there for the bottom lane. Not quite sure if they want to go ahead, lock that one all the way in, and they will go ahead and pick that up for that big team fighting power.
Yeah, Taric was actually banned a bit in the last series, mostly because of the fact that his team fighting power in a lot of these games come down to that team fight and that 5-on-5. It's the easiest way to win League of Legends with low communication as opposed to orchestrating a flank, orchestrating a 1-3-1, and not having people get caught out. Taric really helps you out in these types of situations. And with a low durability composition for Ocean up against what already has a Maokai and Sejuani, I really like the pick of the Taric here.
Final pick for the side of Infernal will be Twitch for Noah Most, putting the faith in him to be that hyper carry, that guy who can just find the damage, eviscerate everyone in the team fight in a matter of seconds. But at the same time, if he falls behind, it's going to be pretty rough.
Yeah, and you got to watch out. Once again, it's another combination team. You have Maokai to deliver the ball, you have Rakan to deliver the ball, and then you have Noah Most's Twitch to try and back it all up. And we'll see if Tsum, a 28-year-old player, the oldest guy in the Scouting Grounds by a long shot here, he's actually got kind of his hand on the trigger, and we'll see if he's able to pull it in these mid-game fights.
These two teams should be a lot of fun to watch, I think. Like we said, these are the two teams that performed the best over the course of the single round robin that the teams played the last couple of days, both sitting on 2-1 right now. At the end of this best of 3, one gets to go home with the 3-1 record, the only record that actually will have more wins than losses on it, because the loser of this match will be 2-2. The winner of the last match is now 2-2. So always good to walk away with that shiny record at Scouting Ground.
Also a little bit of revenge for Team Infernal, because like I said, they're the only team that ended up dropping, or sorry, the only team that beat them was Ocean at the first match, and now it's come full circle. They're back where they started. We'll see the improvements and see if Infernal can take this game and this match off of Ocean, but Ocean has just been looking so strong with players that people really didn't know too much about coming into it.
Yeah, and Team Infernal, I got to see a little bit of them last night up against Team Mountain, and Infernal did well at getting themselves ahead in the early game, punishing Mountain's mistakes. Infernal seemed to be comfortable allowing Mountain to try to go too hard and then immediately punishing them for it, getting the better of them in a counter engage or something similar. So this Infernal team, when they have resources like that Maokai and that Rakan and that Orianna that you were talking about, these aren't just tools that you can use to engage. These are tools that if your opponent steps out of line, if your opponent just gets a little bit too feisty trying to make their own moves, you can punish that so hard. And that's kind of what I'm looking for from Infernal, if they play like they did yesterday.
Yeah, I'm looking for, you know, an aggressive bottom side of the map here for Infernal, whereas the top side seems to be kind of the more aggressive part here for Team Ocean. I think that, you know, having the Jace and the Jarvan is going to be huge for them, and the fact that the Jace up against this Maokai has the ability to punish that early lane, Infernal could throw kind of a wrench in the plans and bring Spica up top early. It may be, because last game we had the jungle mid synergy. It might be top jungle here, but the question is PieCakeLord, he's very vocal. Is he going to be calling Spica up to his lane, or is he going to say, it's okay, I'm showing this other side that I don't need attention, right? That I'm going to help the team and give back. Let's focus on the bottom side.
That's the question you ask when you're up against something like Jace, right? We know Jace is this notorious lane bully. The best thing you can do to Jace is just try to minimize your losses against him, because he just beats everybody.
Yeah.
So do you call attention to that? Do you try to slow down that bleeding, or do you just sacrifice it and put your attention elsewhere? Those are the kinds of decisions and communications that, like you're saying, will tell us about this team and show who's really better at making themselves still relevant when you're in a losing situation. Especially for a player that, like you said with PieCakeLord, the man's known as a Camille player. He's known as a Fiora player. He's the kind of guy that's going to be split pushing, saying, yeah, I'll 1v2 you, no big deal. But can you play a Maokai just as well?
Yeah, and I know a lot of coaches and, you know, organizations I've talked to have said things like, yeah, it's okay, show me a player that, don't show me a player that's, you know, in a winning situation, win a game. Show me a player who has pressure on them from the draft, from bans, from having to not pick their champion early, because they could have taken Jace, right?
Yeah.
In the first round for themselves and denied it and had a winning lane. Show me a player who can sacrifice for the team, and what do they look like under pressure? Because that's kind of what's going to happen a lot of the times. It gives your team flexibility if a player can or cannot be played to, and it's variable, right?
Right. You've got to be able to adapt. You need to be able to be the guy, and especially just because, I mean, if you look at the way the meta shifts, look at the way that League of Legends changes over the course of a season, right? From the beginning of Spring Split to the end of Summer Split, you might have, you know, 2 or 3 patches in a row where, man, top lane is the king. It's all about Fiora. It's all about Camille. Split pushing and carrying is how you play the game, and then afterwards, you go to hard tanking. And you can't have a guy that just can't play one way.
Yeah. Can't at all. And Blabberfish, too, spotted out here.
Wants to go for it. Nope.
They 100% know that he's there. Yeah. They see him with the ward. Also, Vulcan put the shield on him, too. And you got to go, okay, something's up when the Taric doesn't shield the other person.
The 80 carry. Lane. Yeah. It's a little bit strange, but they were able to get away from that one. No real harm done. Blabberfish wastes a little bit of his own time hanging around bottom. Meanwhile, Spica farming up that Scuttle Crab on the top side may look to make something happen up against this Kaizen Jace. But we'll have to see what exactly he wants to do with that one. As there is a large minion wave here, you don't want to gank during that. So he has to wait, if nothing else.
It gave actually PieCakeLord so much room. When you see the Jarvan on the bottom side like that, you know that you're not going to get ganked. You know that this gigantic minion wave isn't being built up so that you can be dove. And the Maokai actually going to be, I believe, even or up in CS here. Missed a few, but it is going to be him down just a single CS. That's what you hope for.
Nice stun there. Coming down onto the Twitch. Noah Mo's going to be losing 2/3 of his health here. The damage coming from Prismal and Vulcan together. really punishing.
Yeah, a lot of that is the Rakan lane. It's kind of a free lane for the Taric, more sustain. He gets to have the stun and can stop the Rakan's engages and kind of counter with his ultimate too later on. But the Rakan being picked very early on to deny the Xayah Rakan combo, and then able to turn a bit around there. There's the slow. T-Sum flash.
All right, Spica trying to make the play here. Prismal may be caught out, looking to turn it around instead. More damage. The root comes through. First blood over to Vulcan of all people. TP also going to be used here by Palafox. 1 for 0, Team Ocean.
Yeah, Palafox teleports down. It wasn't necessary, but at the same time, he's going to have his wave held here by Blabberfish. He's going to try to push Julian out.
Blabberfish not getting that knock-up, instead only the slow. He puts himself in a less than desirable spot, trying to flash away, trying to bait Julian in. Julian forced to use his heal to get away from this as Palafox rotates back up mid.
Yeah, ends up being flash, which should have been for nothing, but Julian did not react fast enough, and then he had to blow his heal to get away. But it was a good call here with Spica coming through, but the teleport kind of put them on the back foot, and the great stun there from Vulcan to turn it around. I feel like you deserved that kill at that point.
Yeah, the call from them to turn that around and say, look, we don't care about the fact this is 3 versus 2, Twitch is low, just kill him, was really good from Ocean. They absolutely deserved that outplay. They played the situation properly, and there's the communication we're talking about. That's what you're looking for, that coordination between your bottom lane players, between Prismal and Vulcan, to make that kill happen. And the communication and trust with the mid laner for Palafox to say, okay, don't worry, gonna use TP right here. Because a lot of times you see your mid laners, they like to use their TP early to just go back to base, get back to lane, right? But Palafox is saying, don't worry, I'm totally comfortable, I'll just teleport bottom, it's not that big of a deal, and we'll make this happen. Playing for the team.
Palafox is really interesting because he was the last person picked in the draft, but he was actually the highest LP of all the mid laners here. And you knew kind of a lot about, Julian, who's formerly Zatzmod, who played for the Florida State University collegiate team. You knew a lot about Ablaze Olive, and then Linsanity has also played in competitive before in Challenger Series. But this guy, Palafox, there's pretty much almost nothing about him.
More of an unknown quantity.
Right? He's played 3 different roles. He's played top, he's played jungle, he's played mid. He's got like a Fiora win rate on both his accounts. He's got a Yasuo account. I actually like him because he doesn't play Yasuo on his main account, but it's like his most played on his other Masters account.
You know which account you're going to get Yasuo on, so you know which one to dodge in Champion Select.
Exactly. But the thing is this guy is actually very mechanically good at the game, and now it's just, how is his game sense? How is he playing out these situations? And he's actually quite selfless, which you wouldn't expect for somebody who likes to play Yasuo.
Exactly. He's breaking the mold here. Let's see if Blabberfish can make something happen bottom. Nope. Second time is not the charm. The first gank failed. The second gank never got off the ground. As Palafox flashing forward, trying to make the moves here with the ulti on to Julian, who still has his flash available. Going for the ball, only to find the gates waiting as Palafox grabs kill number 2 for Ocean. That was well done.
Was sick. That was right on time, saying either that was the covering of options. We have a fighting game now. He went for the Q over the wall with the ward there, saying either he stays and Blabberfish hits him with an auto and he dies, or he flashes this wall and he dies as well.
And he dies to Call of the Void.
All the options. That was so well played.
Very well done from Team Ocean. 11.7 to 10.3 thousand gold now. They found themselves ahead. Jarvan also going to steal away that blue buff, keeping that off of Orianna. Very, very useful. Going to provide Palafox a better situation in mid lane. Let's take a look at the pick.
Yeah, this here was nice. You have Blabberfish coming up, flash ulti so that Blabberfish can close the distance, EQ knockup, and it's already the ward over and the start of it. It was, that was beautiful. That was just a covering of options, and I love that.
And I like how they left that control ward at 1 hit too, making Julian think, okay, he'll auto-attack this one more time, and then maybe I can poke him, and then he flashes for the ulti, the mind games.
It's the sunk cost fallacy. You've already put 3 hits on it. You got to put 1 more.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this guy's got to kill this control ward. Why would he waste all this time? Nope.
That's an exercise in restraint. Hit at a control ward 3 times and not hit it that last. It's so hard. You'll feel like every bone in your body be like, just 1 more.
Don't worry about it, though. It's like you mentioned in game number 1 of match number 1. These games are all about control wards anyway. You're going to have plenty of chances to kill a lot more control wards throughout this best of 3. Team Ocean, though, they've got the early game momentum, the early game success for themselves as we're getting closer to the 9-minute mark. But how are they going to use it? What are they going to do with that? Top lane, the Maokai actually has very similar farm to the Jace. Like PyCakeLord, this guy you were talking about, this guy who's known to be such a solid top laner, he's more than holding his own.
Yeah, he's somebody who's very vocal, likes to be kind of a shot caller for the team, but this entire team is made up of vocal players on the side of Infernal. It's kind of a democratic shot calling system where everybody's contributing very highly. But PyKlord is kind of that voice that I always hear break through the comms of what's the goal, what's next, who's he TPing on, or if he wants to make a play. And on this Maokai, being even in lane with pretty much no help is actually a little bit insane. And this helps the game a lot for his team to kind of stay in it, because Ocean, with that lead that they have, they can just keep making plays mid. You have Flash down, Palafox has his ultimate, you have the ultimate from Blabberfish, you Cataclysm into the Malzahar ulti, it's guaranteed kill mid for the most part, unless it's counter, right? So that's kind of where you want to focus, but PyKlord being able to hold even means you don't have to put resources top. Sejuani can go mid, she can go bottom, and try to get something back. So PyKlord being even frees them up a bit. And actually,
PyKlord doing just fine. Well, even that Empowered Shock Blast is a little bit less than fine.
Yeah, I like the Bramble Vest first purchase here. It's going to make it so that it's very hard to get something.
Oh! Not quite what they wanted, but they still get the flash out of Noah, which could be good for the return gank coming up in a little bit here.
Yeah, and now we have Spica going up top for the first time here. PyKlord going to try to cover the wave. Oh, gets the flash out
away.
Early.
But with that flash down, they should be able to find something here. Nice interrupt on the To The Skies. Spica with the damage, and they've got him.
Yep, they give up the bottom turret for that, though, and they get pushed off because the Jarvan had shown bottom. Blabberfish 2 was showing up to help Prismal, and it did look like a strategy from Ocean to target the bottom side of the map and leave the Jace alone top, so that they could kind of punish Noah most, who, like I said, has kind of been the player on Infernal that has been the least impressive so far.
I mean, look at the farm. We were talking about PyKlord doing a great job. 88 compared to 85. Look at the mid lane, 83 to 87. These are all very close. Bottom lane, you've got a 96 farm Prismal compared to a 78 farm Noah. That's your big difference. That's your X factor.
Yeah, they went ahead, banned away a few champions, the Tristana, and then picked themselves the Xayah first pick on Team Ocean. And trying to free up Prismal, who, it's interesting because on Team Ocean, they have a lot of people who are highly communicative and they talk a whole bunch. And I was talking to some of their staff, and they were saying he picks out the right information. Prismal as an AD carry, when he's shot calling in the mid game, he kind of takes over. Blabberfish and Vulcan will control early parts, but then Prismal as an AD carry really steps up in the later parts of the fight because he doesn't clutter communication. He doesn't clutter the comms at all, and he's saying exactly what they need to be doing and picking out the right information. I think you were talking about he's streamed and done some Summoner School stuff before.
Yeah, I know the guy personally. He's a friend of mine, and he's had some success personally just doing an educational style stream. It's not some crazy thing with a bunch of air horns and meme noises and everything all over the place. It's just challenger, AD carry, informational stuff. And people like watching him because of what he explains. He explains the important stuff. He knows what's going on in the game and what matters. And I think that same ability to make an educational stream that works also translates into being the kind of guy that you want in your comms. The kind of guy who will give you that right information. But now it's Team Infernal who's pushing up 3 men strong in the bottom lane as Team Ocean responds by sending their bottom lane topside to pick up the Rift Herald.
Yeah, got themselves that top turret, so they've already traded and already are ahead 1 turret total after this one's taken. And then they'll have the Rift Herald to maybe siege up mid and try to go for another play. They'll have the Cataclysm, they'll have the ultimate from the Malzahar. See if they put another play onto Julian and try to use that Rift Herald to knock down the mid turret.
All right. They're giving the Rift Herald over to Blabberfish. Makes sense. The jungler's naturally going to be rotating everywhere. You can use it wherever you want to need it. As Julian here in the mid lane on the Orianna, 107 CS to the 105 of the Malzahar, ever so slightly ahead, while Kaizen farms up bottom with this Jace. Still only even with the Maokai, by the way. Going for the Blade of the Ruined King first to try to deal with the large health pools on both the Maokai and the Sejuani. I mean, when you look at Sejuani, you're a Sejuani player. Every time I think of Sejuani, I think of Zyrene. So you're familiar with the Cinderhulk and the Warmogs and this massive health pool. Blade of the Ruined King seems like a solid buy.
Yeah, it really depends on what he's going to go for here, because if he goes for Warmogs, it's absolutely a fantastic purchase against it. Less effective if he goes for something like a Knight's Vow, which you don't see much of here, but it might be what Blabberfish goes for. But like you were saying, this top lane, it's been kind of rough for the Jace. He hasn't been able to find advantages, and now with the armor that's been stacked up on PyKlord's Maokai, when that Bramble Vest comes through, Jace is actually just killing himself with the Hypercharge. So you have to buy a Bilgewater Cutlass. What Haunter did at Worlds when he was up against the Cho'Gath, I believe. and he's just killing himself with the W over and over again up against Misfits. Kaizen's like, all right, well, I guess I need some type of vamp so I can live. But Pie Lord in the flank, trying to make something happen. Here's the shot call coming through.
All right, they popped Shelly mid lane to try to take down this tier 1. A lot of defense coming in from Infernal, but the turret's still going to be taken down. There comes your Tyrek ulti, looking to make sure they find this team fight for themselves. Prisma with the flash and the Featherstorm trying to make the plays, but can't find the recall just yet. Onto those feathers, they will not pick up any kills. They'll grab the mid lane tier 1. They'll nearly take down the enemy front line, but now they back away.
Yeah, Noah Most, though, was pushing topside, and he stopped pushing topside to try and join his team. So he's actually not going to get the turret on this wave. It'll be another wave. And is that enough time for Palafox to get there and wave clear? He might go way up. Blue instead. No, good call.
Yep.
Yeah, this actually stopped it from going down. So I actually think Noah Most made a bit of a mistake there. He would have had more damage on it, potentially killed it. But he was trying to play for the team when he saw that they were struggling.
And that's one of the things I think you also look for if you're one of the people deciding, you know, if you're working with one of these organizations, if you're working for an LCS team and like watching these guys and seeing who's the best player, is that decision-making capability. Your ability to recognize, okay, I need to go help the team. Because, you know, you don't want a guy who just sits in a lane by himself the whole time and just non-stop split pushes or something along those lines. But at the same time, you want a guy who knows when that is the right call. And this time, Noah made the mistake on that one. He wasn't able to get it.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. Like, it doesn't just happen to, you know, AD carries. It happens a lot to top laners, too, where I think Khan at Worlds suffered from that as well, where it was, do I TP in now for my team? He TPs in, trades TP for a kill, loses split push advantage for Jax for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
When he's supposed to split push and get the tier 2 turrets. More gold goes into getting that tier 2 turret. But look at this, Pie Lord pulling 2 down, using the ulti. Oh, is he going to try to kill?
He's going to buy as much time as he can. Turns around, but I don't think that's going to be getting him too much. They do pick up the free kill onto him.
But, like I said, trading a kill for a turret ultimately is worth it. The kill maybe didn't have to go over there, but we'll see what happens, because now Noah Most gets time to kind of remedy the error, go for the top tier 1 turret. Now Ocean get time to go on this mid tier 2 and possibly the bottom one and take control of the jungle. So there is a lot being traded around here. Suppression.
Oh, the damage down onto Julian. They catch him out using that Malzahar ulti. So very effective at punishing even minor overextension.
Yeah. And Infernal, we were talking that they got kind of a wombo combo team composition, right? You have that Orianna, the Twitch, and then you have the start of the fight from the rest of the team with the Rakambo and whatnot.
Well, here comes your Rakan knockup, but no real follow-up there just yet. With your Orianna dead, you might still have some combo, but there ain't no wombo in front of it. So you've just got to back away, cede the turret to your opponent.
Exactly, and because Infernal have been behind on tempo, they're trying to remedy the mistakes. We lost the bottom turret. We had to go get the top one after, right? It's like, we lost the bottom turret, we lost the top turret, we got the bottom turret for that, but we lost our mid because of Rift Herald, and now they had to get that top turret eventually, so they're just kind of playing catch up at all points of the game right now, and so they haven't been able to group and use that wombo because of the state of the game. Once they do, though, if they catch up in tempo, they'll be in a really good spot to potentially make those calls.
And that's what this team needs, right? Yeah, you're down right now. You're down 4,000 gold, 17 minutes into the game. I mean, it's 4-1. This isn't one of those super bloody games. Honestly, like 5 kills in 17 minutes, that ain't too bad. But it's a game where they are down 4,000 gold. It's a game where this lead is nothing to scoff at this point in time, and they really have to find that way to get back into the game with the wombo combo.
Yeah, and look at this. Ocean, 11 control wards in their inventory, 3 on the mid laner, 3 on the support, 2 on the top laner, and 2 on the AD carry. Yeah, man, it's bonkers. I'm like, Palafox, yo, you really gonna place 3 control wards that frequently? It's crazy because they're up in gold, right?
Yep.
They legitimately have over 800 gold worth of control wards in their inventory right now. And
when
so
you put it like that, it is a little bit out there. But these guys have that much gold. But hey, that's the way you got to do it.
And that's how they're going to try to accelerate the mid game, is you place a ton of vision, look for picks, and that like small investment will turn into kills, a Baron objective, and more. So you just try to clear out vision, use your advantage, force it, and these control ward pickups, now I laugh about them, but they actually end up paying dividends because it makes it so easy to go for tier 2 turrets when you control the vision.
And look at all the wards they're placing down. This is what I like to see from a team, Zyrene. When a team has down the entire outer ring of turrets, on their enemy side, move into the jungle, put that vision down, take control of the map, and just choke them out of the game.
Yeah.
When they only own their map up to their base, they don't have a lot of options.
Yeah. And I'm looking like Palafox already used 2 of his control wards. Like, come on. Like,
Yep.
They're all like that's the thing is they're already doing Pie Lord. I'm talking about
wanting
the
to TP
flame.
in. Here comes your Tyrek ulti, looking to keep these guys alive. Barely going to keep going through the Twitch ultimate. Blabberfish having to make his way out. 2 dead on the side of Ocean. Your fight from Infernal is there. That's the combo.
And you saw Pie Lord went for the TP super late in terms of the distance, but they were able to take that Wombo combo in through the Tyrek ultimate. And now they give up like a little bit for that. That bottom turret's going to take some damage, but Pie Lord is right back there.
That was very, very well done from Team Infernal. We said they have to find a fight like that. We said this is what they need. They're pretty far behind, and they have to find that way back into the game. And there you go. When your opponents are outnumbered, this is what you jump on.
Yeah, see it right here. Spica looking for the start alongside Tsum. Gonna go in with control. They're all on top. Boom, into the back. Oh, they take so much damage before the Tyrek ultimate can even come down. And then they just finish it and clean up. Prismal not able to really get any bit of that fight at all.
You saw him get 1 auto attack, I believe.
Yeah, and then he's out again.
And then he's like, nope, not touching this anymore. Has to bail out. And with Kaizen in the bottom lane the entire time, that was essentially a 5 versus 3 because Infernal was able to go.
And you know what the best part of that fight is for Infernal? Is they didn't have to use any flashes. 0 flashes used to make that play happen, because if they had used them, Baron was live a minute after that play. If I'm Ocean, I just go to Baron and I get the flashless guys to face check us.
Yep.
They have all their flashes up. Super easy for Infernal to take control of this game and kind of wrestle it back now with all those summoners.
But let's see how well they can push up now. We've seen their Wombo combo potential, but that means Ocean has seen their Wombo combo potential. And if Ocean is smart, which generally these guys are trying to be as smart as they can, minimize as many mistakes as possible, especially when you're
I try to be as
treating
smart
this
as I
like
can.
a tryout. Yeah, well, I feel like y'all try to be as smart as you can, but it's one of those things where you're trying to minimize mistakes, right? That's why they've got all these control wards in their inventory. That's why they're playing more safely than usual. So you've got to be very, very aware of the fact that you just were 4,000 gold ahead and got Wombo combo bopped.
And right now, what's going to happen is no TP on Pie Lord. So he's saying, nah, I can't go bottom. I can't compete against this Jace with TP. We have to give up turret for Baron bait, for potential to do Baron, to get an engage. And there it is.
Well, Baron has already been started. The Maokai ultimate is summoned out.
Oh, the
Tyrek
back.
can go ahead, use the ultimate. Noah Mose grabbing the kill onto Vulcan. Prismal now going to be stunned up, taken down, bursted out. Blabberfish with the escape, but it's 2 for 0 going the way of Infernal. They're back onto the Baron, but their bottom lane inhibitor turret is being pressured.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll actually go down, though, because they might get the Baron here fast enough. It's really up to Palafox to do enough damage, and Blabberfish to potentially steal. They got to keep somebody out of that pit. They don't have the HP.
Behind the wall. Palafox looking to maybe poke at these guys. Call of the Void can do some damage. He's going to be knocked airborne instead. Damage further coming down. Tsum drops to Palafox. Baron below 1/4 HP. Flag goes down. Blabberfish wants to go in. He's able to find it. Is he? Yes! Good Lord, man. 2 Jarvan Baron steals in one day. What a success for Team Ocean.
They said you can have your pie cake, but you can't eat it too. They're going to end up stealing it away. They get that bottom inhibitor, and that's everything that you could want if you're Ocean in that situation that started off horribly. Jace wasted his TP, said, I'm going to go back to split pushing, and they lost multiple members. Huge from Blabberfish.
Just now back, I want to rewind back to an hour ago when we saw the mistake that led to the Jarvan steal in the last series, and I said it was a great steal, but it was also a big mistake from the other team. This time, it was just holy Jarvan.
Holy Jarvan, absolutely. You see the TP there, gets canceled by Jace. He says, what am I doing? This is over. Goes back to split pushing. He's going to keep working off. Remember that, Jace? Palafox did work. He got them low. Somebody burst it, and it wasn't in range. And Spica with the super early, about 200, 300. You're trying to coordinate. That's what you got to do. And you can see Blabberfish, too.
He knows
Super
what
happy
he
about
did.
that.
He knows what he did.
Wave to stream, boy. He's like, I got this.
Absolutely phenomenal job from this Jarvan. And now, Ocean, when they looked like they might have been in some real trouble if that Baron got picked up by Infernal, they're firmly in the driver's seat. You've got bottom lane inhibitor down. You've got Baron buff on multiple members, you've got the ability to really just drive this lead home.
And you got Baron buff on a team that would like to 1-3-1 with the Malzahar or look for picks once they have control, but look at this, they're trying to get a pick.
Here comes your Wombo combo. Tarek ulti gonna come down. T-Sum drops first, and it's actually Ocean who's got themselves the opportunity to put down some damage. Nice dodge away from the Shockwave by Prismal, able to find the Blade Caller into the ulti. Plenty of damage coming through. Piecake Lord falls to Palafox. Meanwhile, Kaizen just doesn't care. He's split pushing. He's doing his job on the Jace. He's wrecking these turrets. And the 5 versus 4 team fight actually goes the way of the 4 on Team Ocean.
We're saying, you know, you don't want that guy who groups with the team, but, you know, Kaizen, formerly Max Waldo, he's playing Where's Waldo. He's not in these fights. You ain't gonna find him there.
Up there in the top lane. Look for the striped shirt, because this dude is taking everything away. Top lane inhibitor now gonna be falling. That's 2 inhibs down. You've got 1 left to push. You regroup with your team. You get everybody good to go. You spend your gold. You march down mid.
Exactly. It's not always about helping the team directly in the team fight. Sometimes you have to say, you guys are actually helping me accomplish the team's goals of getting these structures. And I gotta say, like, Kaizen, he's up against Piecake Lord, who I personally think is one of the strongest top laners in this scouting grounds, right alongside League, but for a different skill set. And we're seeing this Jace and this split push in the game sense kind of pay off here. But this engage, once again, I like how Julian holds on to the Orianna ball and the ultimate for so long, but then it's dodged out by Prismal, who is saving his ultimate, saying, I'm only using that when I see the Shockwave start. And that was what was making the difference at the end of that fight.
I actually thought Prismal got caught by it too, until I saw his character floating in the air. I was like, that was split-second timing. Very well done by him. And now Team Ocean picking up the Cloud Drake for themselves. Might as well just grab the free objective there on the map. Only mid lane left with an inhibitor standing means this map is so far in their control. Infernal has such little room to breathe. They've got to constantly deal with 2 waves of super minions marching in. They've got to constantly hold this ground. And in the last series, we saw Mountain do it against Cloud. We saw Mountain make the 1 inhibitor turret, 2 down inhibitors defense. Can Infernal do the same? They're 7,000 gold behind. This Wombo combo needs to be perfect.
Yeah, it has to be perfect, but at the same time, Ocean, they got to avoid it, and the way they've been avoiding it is that split push. It's unanswerable in terms of the team compositions and the double teleport, so it'll be Infernal getting pulled apart unless they can make a snap engage. They have to make an engage that lands and they get somebody, but Tarek is there to kind of stuff that, to stop it from happening.
Thinking about going a little bit forward there, charges in, but doesn't go for any sort of a huge engage. You do have Kaizen grouped up with the rest of the team now. Knowing that the side lane inhibitors are down, he's thinking that the best thing he can do is siege up here middle, use the empowered shock blast like that to find the damage onto Julian or Noah or someone of large value.
I like it because you think about the enemy win condition, like you think about your win condition a lot of the times you go, okay, I should be split pushing, getting these objectives, pushing in minion waves, and sometimes you just have to retcon that and say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to look at their win condition and play around it.
All right, here comes the fight. T-Sum's going to be taken down immediately. 5-man Tarek ultimate to make sure they can continue putting that foot on the gas. Prismal with another good kill onto the enemy AD carry. The damage comes through. Prismal will fall, but so will the entirety of Team Infernal, and Ocean will push for the win.
Yeah, they already have super minions in the base, and Ocean, the steal from Blabberfish to keep them in the game with the split push of Kaizen, really incredible from them to really just drive it home. And I gotta say, Blabberfish too, with that steal, highlight of the game. And I've heard some things about this guy, and a quote that stood out to me from the management was, this guy, easily LCS ready in a year.
Well, with performances like that, it's easy to see where they're coming from. And honestly, the entirety of Team Ocean that time around, it was just great to see everyone do what they needed to do. Like you said, Kaizen, he's split pushing, he makes the calls to be where he needs to be at the right time, he gets things done. Blabberfish with the amazing steal, Prismal with the right timing on all these Xayah ultimates, making the plays happen in the team fights. Team Ocean is a strong team.
Yeah, a lot of the AD carries I haven't been too impressed by, except for value, and then Prismal was right up there as well. I'd love to see those two play against each other, but they both are very high in terms of, if you're looking for an AD carry, you're looking at those two guys because of their game sense. One of them brings a little more shot calling to the table. Then really all around, there's a lot of good talent here in terms of every lane has something that you're looking at and going, that guy seems like he's on point.
And Vulcan's Tarek ults were where they needed to be. I mean, we saw
stun
so many fights.
The first kill.
The stun for the first kill, the ultimates in multiple fights that made it so that Wombo combo couldn't just wreak havoc and destroy everyone. That Tarek pick did exactly what they needed it to do.
Yeah, and Vulcan, like a Zag was saying on the desk, this guy has already won DreamHack Montreal in 2016, first place there alongside Omar God and Zag and stuff like that. But this guy really, he's the first support that was picked up in the draft, and mostly because of his comms. What Optic did in the draft, it was Snake Draft, and they drafted Blabberfish 2 and Vulcan side by side. So instead of going for a carry in terms of mid lane, top lane, AD carry,
A traditional thought
they
of a
went
carry.
for a core in communication and with play in terms of jungler and support. They went for a duo there as opposed to one somewhere else.
And that's kind of what Mark was talking about at the top of the day, right? You've got people looking at this like, do I want a mechanical player that I can turn into a communicator and a team player? Or do I want a communicator and a team player that I can put into all these different spots on my team once I figure out what they excel at? But we're going to throw things over to the analysts now to see what they make of that Ocean Drake win.
All right, thank you very much, Flowers. And there it is, Drake taking the early win. Ocean Drake taking the early win.
There's 4 Drakes.
Drake did win. Drake did win. Ocean Drake taking the early win. And surprising storyline about this is that Infernal Drake had been the team that plays through the top lane, that had been split pushing through Piecake Lord. In this instance, though, Ocean decides to go ahead and flip that around, and Kaizen gets to play his very well-known Jace.
And it's interesting because even though they took the Jace, they really didn't play through him that much. The bot lane were the big shining stars for Ocean Drake. They made all the big plays for their team. And on the flip side, you have Team Infernal going away from the split push top style and have a complete 5v5 team comp where they want to get to late game team fights.
Right, and both teams, I think, had a better idea on vision, had a better idea on map and macro because they got to watch the first game. But our very first replay starts with an amazing, counter call here on a TP play on the bottom side of the map. 5 minutes, Ocean turns this one around.
Yeah, so Sejuani's coming for a gank here, and then they have a Rakan flashes in, but then you can instantly see Vulcan just no hesitation, just turns the play around. TP comes in as well, probably calls that as well, because
that call going down to the bottom side. It seemed like a good idea. The numbers advantage, you had the vision, but unfortunately it got turned around on Team Infernal there.
I mean, I think that the gank idea was okay, but I don't think they were really expecting. Usually when you go for a gank like that in the early game, you have to make sure your top laner is also ready to, counter the TP, or you have to be ready for a 4v4 essentially. So I think that, potentially Vulcan might have helped with the comms there and just made sure his top laner was ready when maybe they knew they were going to get ganked. So I think it was a really good call and a good turn overall. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ocean had been the #1 team overall coming in, had dropped their final game against Cloud Drake, but looked like the dominant team that every team was talking about. However, in this next replay that we have, Piecake Lord coming in huge with the flank at 18 minutes, getting away from split pushing.
And I really like this play because it shows that they understand what the enemy team wants to do. They're camping a brush, waiting for the vision control battle to start, and then they go for this great TP play. They're going to be able to pick up 3 kills here, and it looks like Infernal Drake has started to turn the corner now on the game because they got to pick off, they stabilized a little bit. Their team comp is vastly superior in 5v5s. And I just like the creativity of that play where it wasn't just the enemy team like, oh, I went too aggressive and you killed me, good job. This was them sitting in the jungle and correctly playing around vision.
Yeah, it seemed a little uncoordinated there because Palafox did flash out of the Taric ultimate, didn't get healed there, and they kind of crumbled. However, everything kind of turned around on this one big play. Blabberfish coming up huge with the Baron steal for Team Ocean.
And once again, the big thing, you got to control the Baron. Don't let the Jarvan in. 2 games in a row. This happened last game as well, different teams, of course. And this was really, really important because at this point, like we said, Infernal felt like they were getting control of this game. This whole time, they had basically sacked the Baron down the bot side. Kaizen was split pushing on that Jace, and now he gets a Baron buff and the huge influx of gold. This is really the critical reason that they were able to take this game.
It kind of felt like to me that they didn't really know how to deal with the Jace at all. They kind of just were trying to force stuff, and they couldn't get the correct fight they wanted. They had a 5v5 comp. They knew what their team composition did. It was just the execution, I think, that was faltering. They had a disadvantage to begin with, so it was harder to get the fight started. So Kaizen was just, on an island the entire game, and he was like, well, if you can't get the fights off, I'm just going to take your entire base.
Yeah, and Zag was talking earlier just about how important scaling is in this kind of meta where a lot of people struggle to close out games, and this is a time where Infernal should have won if they were just a little cleaner around the
Yeah, if they got the Baron, they just 5-man grouped. You have a Twitch, Ori, and Rakan. Their 5v5 was just crazy good, and sadly, plays like that where Blabberfish can steal the Baron can just, a single player can win you the game as well.
And unfortunately for them, they weren't able to recover. So coming back from that, which players stood out from you from this first match? Obviously, Blabberfish with the big steal. It's really easy for Kaizen on a split pushing Jace to look good when he has his teammate steal Baron. But who else stood out for you for both teams here?
Well, I think that definitely it was Team Ocean's bot lane that kind of carried this one. The turn on bot lane just kind of set the pace for the rest of the game. They took the tower and then they just rotated top, took the top tower, and they had like a 4K gold lead, I believe. So it was pretty much all of the bot lanes work really, but Kaizen just kind of took all the towers after that. So yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. The bot lane just set the pace of the game. They had like a 20-30 CS lead, and they were just rotating around the map. They took bot turret, went top, got top turret. The jungler wasn't playing around the Jace, which was a little weird, but I mean, he still was breaking the turrets, so overall it was still pretty good.
Julian was a player coming in the mid lane for Team Infernal, one of TSM's picks there. He didn't really stand out. What do you think he needs to do, Mark, differently in this next game so that he can show off a lot of his skill set?
I mean, he's against a Malzahar, which is a champion that sometimes it feels hard to do much against. His bot lane was getting rolled a little bit. He got picked off in his own jungle, and it just felt like as the Orianna, you're just sitting back and waiting for your chance to shine. And he found some good team fights where he followed up off his tank line, his engagers, and was hitting big Orianna shockwaves. But that Baron steal just put them so far behind that the other side just never had to group up again.
All right, well, that's going to put a bow and wrap things up for Game 1. We'll get to see if Team Infernal can even up the score when we come back with Game 2 against Team Ocean. Don't touch that browser.